Hey guys, this week for Weapons Wednesday, we're testing out some of the newest weapons, including this stun gun. But before we begin, if you just like this video and subscribe to our channel, that would be awesome. So last week, I wrote up a whole bunch of cheesy sounding riddles, and then I gave them to Amanda and Melanie to go find various products in the warehouse and then review them for us. And then at the end of the video, you guys went to the community tab and voted for which weapon you liked best. And there were some really cool weapons too. There was this new bat thrower that I thought was just awesome. But you guys went to the community tab and voted for the Black Ops Machete. Excellent choice, guys. I love how stealthy this thing is, and the blade is super sharp, so excellent choice, guys. Now this week, I had Amanda go back to the warehouse and choose some of our newest items for me to review, so I'm super excited to see what she's got for me today. It's been a few months since I've actually reviewed anything, so I'm probably a little bit rusty, but this is gonna be fun. But at the end of this video, make sure you guys go to the community tab and vote for which weapon you like best. And as always, there's links in the description of the video so you can find out more information on each of these products. But without further ado, Amanda, what is our very first item?
There you go.
Awesome, awesome, thank you. All right, let's see what you brought for me today. Okay, and our very first weapon is the Combat Rescue Knife. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Oh wow, that is interesting. Does that not look different than a lot of the other knives we carry?
Yeah, I know, it definitely looks a lot different.
I mean, look at that, it's got that brown on it. I really like that.
And then also too, it has that nice belt clip too. It looks very sturdy.
Oh yeah, yeah. So it's got that wide back clip on there, which I actually kind of like this type of back clip because you can put it in your belt and it just makes it more sturdy in there, or you can put it in your pocket and it's nice and tight. And then another feature of this knife that's so cool is, check this out. Like, I'm trying to get that out of the sheath and I can't because there's actually a lock on here. I mean, how cool is that? So if I actually want to use the knife, I just hit that button and pull it out. So it's a trigger lock. I mean, we don't see that very often, so that's pretty neat. But if we take a closer look at the sheath looks like it's made out of a very dense ABS, but it's also got this like kind of rubberized grip to it, so it's really comfortable and you can tell it's really well made. And it looks like the handle of the knife is actually built the same way. So I'm actually really liking that because it's so comfortable in my hand. And then if we look at the blade itself, I mean, look at that. That is beautiful. The blade is actually made from a 440C stainless steel. I like 440C stainless steel. It's a little harder than standard stainless steel, and it's going to be very corrosion resistant for you. But this blade also has a stonewash finish to it, which is nice because it's not going to show any nicks or scratches as you're using the blade, which, as all you guys know, if you're using a knife, you're going to get nicks and scratches in it. So that's actually a really nice thing about it. But the blade shape here is pretty nice. We've got this drop point blade on there. And then we also have a flat grind on the blade itself. And then check this out too. So if we look at the spine of the blade, we've got some stonewash up here, but then we've got this one area right here where there's no finish on it. Why do you think that is? Any idea?
Is it for thumb rise?
No, it's actually because if we look at the sheath, we've got a fire starter on there. I think that's a pretty cool little feature that we have there. So if we were going to use it, you just take the spine of the blade of the knife and then you use it on there, which I don't want to use in a building. That's actually super dangerous, so we'll avoid that for now. But let's look at this knife a little bit more. So the grip on the knife is really comfortable because it's got this ergonomic grip to it and it's got this kind of rubberized handle to it. So that's probably my favorite thing about this knife. But we can also see that if we throw it into reverse grip, we've actually got this jimping on the pommel up here, which is really nice. It's kind of shaped a little bit funny up there, like it doesn't look like a typical glass breaker, but because of the shape, we could actually use that for non-lethal strikes. So if you didn't want to actually use the blade, you could just use the butt of the knife and use it for non-lethal strikes. So I actually really like that. And then we can also see on the pommel of the knife, we actually have this lanyard hole there. So that's kind of nice. So we could add a wrist strap to it if we wanted to. And then if we look at the sheath, we can also see that there's this hole here, so we could add a lag strap to it. So I'm actually really digging this. The thing I like the most about it is obviously that trigger lock. I love how secure that is. That is not coming out on you. So if we wanted to just put it in our pocket right there and we wanted to grab it, all we would do, hit that trigger, boom, and you got your knife. So I'm really liking this. But the overall length of this knife is approximately 10 inches. The blade length is approximately 4 3/4 inches, and the weight of the knife itself is about 7.4 ounces. The only other thing I have to say about this is that this is available on combative.com and is not available on KarateMart.com. So definitely check it out on combative.com. But that's about all I have to say about this. So I'm going to go ahead and put this away, and let's move on to our next weapon. All right, Amanda, what do you have next for me?
There you go.
Thank you. All right, let's see what this is.
You'll love it.
And our next weapon is my first day back, and you guys pull out the stun gun on me. All right, our next weapon is the carbon fiber stun gun. Thank you, Amanda.
You're welcome.
You know, that didn't sound sincere at all. All right, so let's just take a look at this thing. First off, we've got a really nice vinyl holster on here with a belt loop on it, so we could hang it from the side of our body if we wanted to. But I want to see the stun gun itself, so let's go ahead and open this up and check it out. Oh, wow. Okay, so this actually looks a lot like
the Comfort Grip.
The Comfort Grip stun gun. Okay, it's just got that kind of carbon fiber design to it. So we can tell the casing on this is made out of an ABS, but then it's got that kind of carbon fiber design added to it, which is kind of neat. I mean, it looks like a snake skin or something, so I think that's pretty cool. The thing I like the most about this specific style of stun gun is that it's really comfortable in your hand, and then they've got the buttons in really ideal places too. So let's see, first off, we can see that there's a button here, and this specific button is for a personal alarm. That's neat. I love when stun guns have personal alarms. I think that's a great feature. I'm gonna go ahead and try it. So if you guys have earphones on, definitely take them off. I don't want you to hurt your ears, but here it goes. Oh, geez. Yeah, that was loud, but I think it's such a good feature because if you're getting attacked and you throw on your personal alarm, that's just gonna gather the attention of everyone else around you. So I think it's an excellent feature to have on a stun gun. But let's see what else this thing has. So, oh yeah, I love this. I love when I see this on a stun gun. So instead of a lot of stun guns, you actually have to take a cord, you plug them in, you recharge them that way. This one's rechargeable, but it actually has this little plug where you push this button and then the little outlet plugs come out. So we can just plug this directly into the outlet. I think that's a really neat feature. Just kind of makes it an all-in-one stun gun. But let's go ahead and put that away. And what else do we have on this thing? Okay, so it looks like we've got a red button up there, which typically is the stun button. Let's try pressing it. Okay, nothing. That's because we've got the safety on right now. So let's go ahead and flip the safety up once. Oh, wow. Okay, so now we've got a really nice LED flashlight. I really like that, especially if you're traveling around at night. What a great feature to have. I mean, I love that. And then if we try hitting the red button there, still nothing. But that's because we've got to push the switch up one more time. And boom, you can see that the safety is off because that bright red LED light is on. So that tells you it's ready to stun. And let's just test this thing out. Oh geez, that is loud. Oh no, that means it's gonna be strong. So the manufacturer does not state how many volts this stun gun is, which I absolutely love when the manufacturers do that because there's so many manufacturers that just throw a random huge number on their stun guns like 1 million volts or 100 million volts. Sometimes you'll even see 500 million volts. And that number doesn't mean anything. It's just the manufacturers like to throw a number on their stun guns to make them appear that they're stronger than other stun guns. But if you think about it, a stun gun's power is going to be based on the amount of amps, the amount of resistance, not the voltage. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense. So I like that it doesn't have a number, but the way we are able to tell how strong it is by how loud it is, which that crackle is super loud, which means it's going to be really, really strong. And then the other thing we have to do is we actually test every single one of our stun guns out, which I hate, but I do it for you guys. So I'm actually going to hand this over to Amanda and let her stun me in the arm, just in the arm. We've done other places in the video. The arm feels okay for me, so we'll just do the arm. All right, here we go. Right. Give me a little countdown so I know.
All right, don't flinch. 3, 2, 1.
Ah, jeez. Yeah, that is a good one. That is a really good one. Okay, so I really like this stun gun. Oh man, I'm shaking right now. I really like this stun gun because I can tell that it is powerful enough to actually deter someone. When it comes to stun guns, the thing I always like to say though is there are going to be situations where a stun gun is not strong enough to take down your attacker, so you do need to learn additional martial arts techniques in addition to carrying a stun gun, just in case it's not enough. So just want to put that out there, and definitely check your local laws just to make sure this is legal in your area before purchasing something like this. But the overall length of this is approximately 5 inches long, and it weighs about 3.7 ounces. So that is a really nice light weight for this stun gun. But I don't think there's anything else for me to say about this, so I'm going to put this horrible stun gun away, and let's move on to our next weapon. All right, Amanda, what do you have next for me?
There you go.
Okay, cool. Let's see what this is. She's done 2 stun guns in a row on me before, but we're not going to do that today. All right, so our next weapon is the Combat Commando knife. That sounds neat. All right, let's look at this. Okay. Looks kind of cool. I mean, I guess the first thing I notice is that sheath is really heavy duty. That's made out of a nylon, and that's a really thick sheath. And it's got a really nice heavy duty belt loop to it too, so we could hang it from the side of our body if we wanted to. But you guys don't care about that. Let's check out the knife itself. So, all right, look at the, oh wow, look at that, Amanda.
I love that. It's so awesome.
Oh wow, what does that remind you of?
What
about you, Mel? What does that remind you of?
Ooh, like a claw?
A claw. I mean, that looks like a Bowie knife to me. Like it totally does, especially with that clip point there. I mean, that is a beautiful clip point. But the thing that I noticed that's a little bit different from this and other Bowie knives is we actually have this recurve section here, which kind of looks like an S a little bit. But I'm really liking this design. I mean, we kind of have like a recurve clip point thing going on. It looks like a really mean-looking knife.
Bowie's knife is cool cousin.
That's awesome. Okay, so let's take a look at the blade first. So the blade is a really thick blade, and that looks like that's made out of a 440 stainless steel, but that is a really thick piece of 440 stainless steel. And then we've got a false edge or a swedge on top, which actually gives it even more of a mean look. I personally would probably sharpen that up. I'd take that to a belt sander and just sharpen that up just to make it like the most crazy looking knife you could possibly get. But if you're gonna do something like that, definitely check your local laws because there's certain states that do not like you to sharpen up a swedge on a knife. So just know that. The other thing I noticed right off the bat with this guy is we've got this jimping right here. But that's like really intense, extreme jimping. I mean, it's almost like spikes. Like if I push my finger against that, watch, let's see if my hand gets red from this. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that personally tells me that this jimping is just a little too extreme. So if I were to buy this, I would probably take a metal file, possibly a Dremel, and just kind of grind it down a little bit just to make it a little less spiky. But I'll tell you what, that is going to give you excellent control with this knife. There's no way you're dropping this knife with that kind of jimping on there. And we can also see that we've got this little finger guard here, which is a great feature to have because that's going to block your hand from getting hurt or sliding up onto the blade. I like that. And the grip is ergonomic too, extremely ergonomic. We've got these G10 scales on here, which are really comfortable. I'm a big fan of G10. And then look at the ergonomics on this handle. I mean, that is really comfortable. You can tell that my fingers just flow in there really nicely. Really great finger grooves. But let's try it in a couple different grips. So in forward grip, it feels really comfortable. If we throw it into reverse grip, it's still very comfortable because I've got good placement for my thumb up here on the pommel. We can also see that we've got this lanyard hole in the pommel, so we could add a wrist strap if we wanted to. But let's actually test this out just a little bit to see how strong it is and how comfortable this is on my hand, because I'm slightly concerned that if I'm hitting something with this, that's going to hurt my thumb a little bit. So let's actually test this out on the Wing Chun dummy a little bit. First, in forward grip, we'll just try some chopping. Yeah, okay, so I felt it a little bit on my thumb when I chopped right there. In fact, you can kind of see my skin kind of got cut just slightly on there. So if I were gonna chop with it, I probably wouldn't put my thumb up there, I'd just chop. But then that's not really the way I like to hold a knife. Let's try it in reverse grip though, see how comfortable that is. So, yeah, so with reverse grip, I actually have really good control of this. And I'll tell you what, this blade is extremely sharp. And the tip is extremely sharp. I think I've got a little bit of rope down here, so let's test that really quick. See how sharp this is. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a little slice. I mean, that sliced up that rope like nothing. So this is definitely one of the sharpest knives I've seen in a while. We can also see that it is full tang. That extremely thick piece of stainless steel goes all the way through the handle. You can see those scales surround it really nicely. We can also see that we've got a double-sided fuller in there for aesthetic appeal, so that just looks like a beautiful blade. Now, the overall length is approximately 11 3/4 inches. The blade length is about 6 5/8 inches, and the weight is approximately 12.5 ounces. So that is a really nice weight for this knife. But that's about all I have to say about this, so let's go ahead and put this away and see what Amanda's got next for us today.
All right.
All right, Amanda, what do you have next for me?
There you go.
Thank you. Okay, let's see what this guy is. Obviously something a little bigger. Oh, wow. Okay, gotcha. All right, so this is called the Modern Samurai Wakizashi. Okay, awesome. And for those of you who don't know, a wakizashi is generally a companion sword or a secondary sword to your katana. They're generally a little bit shorter than a katana, so they're used for more like indoor battles or close quarter fighting. But let's take a closer look at this wakizashi. So first off, we can see that it's got a sheath to it. Not a typical scabbard, which is typically more rigid than a sheath, but we actually have a sheath to it that's made out of a really nice heavy-duty leather. And then we can also see that it's got this steel piece here, and then we've got a steel tip here. And what that's going to do is just going to make the sheath just a little more durable for your weapon. And then also we can see that there's these rings right here, which is nice because that way we can carry it really easily in our belt, or you can add some different straps to it and create a shoulder strap off of it. So that's a nice little feature in itself. But I want to see the blade itself. So let's check this thing out. I mean, that's interesting. That's an interesting blade. I think the thing that kind of is noticeable right off the bat is this handle with a rubber grip to it. I mean, that's just rubber. Feel this, Amanda. That's just rubber, right?
It feels like just like rubber.
That's interesting. The piece of steel right here is definitely a very thick piece of steel, and it's got a really nice mirror finish to it. So I do like that aspect of it. The steel looks like it is made from an X46 CR13 stainless steel. Now, we don't hear that very often at all. I don't think we've ever mentioned X46 CR13 stainless steel, but the manufacturer states that X46 CR13 stainless steel is just a higher end type of stainless steel that's known for its hardness, wear resistance, and corrosion resistance. So I'm curious how this thing's going to hold up. We definitely need to test it out just a little bit to see. But we can also see that the blade goes full tang all the way through the handle. And this handle has a strange shape to it, right, Amanda? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it's just a rectangle, actually. It doesn't even have ergonomics or anything.
yeah, there's no ergonomics to this at all. It's just a square or even a rectangle. And when I hold that, that's not overly comfortable. I mean, I love the fact that it's that rubberized grip, so I have extremely good control of this. There's no way anyone's taking that out of my hand, and it's also going to be very shock resistant. But at the same time, it's got these kind of tough corners there that are just going to kind of dig into my hand a little bit. Let's test that. Okay, that didn't hurt as bad as I thought it was going to hurt. It actually, I mean, it definitely digs in a little bit right here, but because it is a very soft rubber, it doesn't really hurt or anything. It's just different. It's not something I'm used to. But I can tell just by holding this sword that it's actually very well balanced. So I do like that about it. Now, the sword has an overall length of approximately 27 1/4 inches. The blade length is approximately 20 inches, and it weighs about 1 pound, 9.5 ounces. So that's a really nice weight for a wakizashi. But we need to test it just a little bit more because I want to see how much this hurts my hands just with the shock of hitting the Wing Chun dummy. So I'm just going to strike it from the side a little bit.
Wow.
I mean, I'm not going to lie, that actually kind of hurt my fingers right there, right along here. So it's not the most comfortable handle in the world, but that blade just took that like a champ. Like there's no dings on this at all. It still looks great. In fact, Amanda, can you grab that rag over there? It's on the bottom. Perfect. Okay, and let's just wipe this off and see if that actually caused any permanent damage to this thing. Okay, so we can see there's one little scratch there, But overall, I mean, this thing just held up just beautifully. Okay, there's a couple little scratches there. I'm pretty impressed with how the sword blade is holding up on this. So that X46 CR13 stainless steel seems to be a pretty good steel for swords, but I'm actually curious to see what you guys think because this handle bothers me. I'm curious if it bothers you guys. So I'm gonna put up 2 polls this week. I'm gonna put up a poll as far as which weapon you guys like best, but I'm also gonna put up a poll, oh man, that's a tongue twister right there. I'm gonna put up a poll that asks you guys whether you think we should carry this sword or not. So definitely let me know. We'll actually carry it if you guys think we should, otherwise I'll just dismiss it. But I think that's about all we have to say about this thing, right? So make sure you guys go to the community tab and vote for which weapon you like best this week. And if you have any questions, definitely leave them in the comments below. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel. And check out KarateMart.com because we've got all sorts of really cool weapons on there right now. But until next week, we'll see you Weapons Wednesday. Yeah.